Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. My name is Brian Van Meter, Marketing Manager here at Grandstream. Like I said, really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day to just go ahead and participate in this quick, roughly 30-minute webinar to learn a little bit more about some of our upcoming solutions, take a little bit of a sneak peek on what we have coming down the pipeline, some of the products that we are really excited about here at Grandstream that's coming through. Just a couple things before we get started. If you're joining us through IP Video Talk, please go ahead, use that chat feature as much as you like. If you want to ask any questions in which you would like me to answer at the end of this webinar, please go ahead and use that Q&A feature at the bottom. If you are watching us via Facebook, on Facebook Live right now, please go ahead and leave any comments that you have in the comments section, and then I'll go ahead and answer anything you have there. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment there. I'll get to you there as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look here. So we're talking about our upcoming solutions, some of the devices and products that we're really excited about here. Just real quick though, for those of you who are watching, you're not too familiar with Grandstream, or maybe this is your first time kind of joining us for a webinar. We were founded in 2002. Currently have over 600 employees, and we have a broad product portfolio containing well over 40 products, everything from business conferencing to our IP phones, gateways, networking devices, award-winning IP PBXs, and so on. We primarily serve the small to medium-sized business markets and consumer markets, and we do have offices located all over the world. We always have that award-winning history, which is something we always love to point out, consistently being nominated and winning awards for our devices and solutions. We always just kind of like to showcase them and show those off just a little bit. All right, but what we're here to talk about today is our upcoming solutions. So I have a few devices I'm going to show, 4 total. I have 2 GWN access points to show you today, a long-range version and a small hospitality-focused unit, a more basic cordless Wi-Fi IP phone, and an HD intercom and facility control station, all upcoming solutions coming down our pipeline. So to get started, guys, we're going to go ahead and talk about our upcoming GWN solutions. The first one will be the GWN 7602, and then the second one being our GWN 7630 LR long-range unit. So the GWN 7602. So this is a device that is designed for networks with many various individual rooms. So one of the main focuses here that we wanted to take a look at when developing this unit was making something that is ideal for hospitality, hotel, hospital, for example, and other type of deployments that require a consistent Wi-Fi coverage over many different devices in various different rooms. The device itself supports up to 100-meter coverage range with 1.17 gigabit per second network throughput, dual band 2x2 MIMO technology, and it supports up to 80 devices on a single device. So if you want to go ahead and deploy this in more of a sort of smaller to medium type of either boardroom, classroom, lecture hall, definitely a great contender for that type of deployment scenario. Advanced QoS as well to ensure real-time performance, so you can go ahead and optimize this device based on the deployment. Primary traffic through this device is going to be VoIP, for example. You can go ahead and be able to prioritize that type of traffic. The device itself also provides PoE power for up to 2 devices. So if you are looking, for example, to put this in a hospitality deployment and would like to utilize it in order to power an IP phone, that is completely doable. And of course, like all of our GWN solutions, it does support customized landing pages, custom passwords, and credential verification. So when looking at the GWN 7602, taking a look at the deployments here that we're sort of focusing on with this device, the coverage can suit small to medium-sized rooms. So we have a 100-meter range to sort of pay attention here. So sort of in larger public areas, we do have support up to 80 devices. So like I said, when we're taking a look and putting this in more areas like smaller cafeteria, cafes, smaller retail and commercial environments, for example, this device can support up to 80 devices. And then custom branding and Wi-Fi credential requirements with those landing pages whenever anyone tries to log on to the SSID of the device. They could be therefore pushed to a website login. This is ideal when it comes to any kind of hospitality deployment. The main kind of aspect we are focusing on with this, hospitality is a key deployment when it comes to this device. This is a great access point when it comes to deploying it throughout rooms within any type of hotel deployment, fast, affordable, and very powerful as well. And supporting all the features that any type of hotel or hospitality provider would expect out of their access point. Okay, taking a quick look at our next GWN access point, a GWN 7630 LR. This is the long-range version of our GWN 7630. Many of the performance aspects here that you would see are almost identical to the GWN 7630. A big difference here is the 300-meter coverage range. So this is an absolutely massive coverage range for the device, which even utilizing those antennas, the coverage range can be slightly tuned and adjusted as well. But for those who aren't too familiar with the GWN 7630, the GWN 7630 LR, same kind of performance, high power, 2.33 gigabit per second wireless throughput for the device. So it can support an incredible amount of devices, along with dual band 4x4 MIMO technology. So a lot of devices can be concurrently operating through a single GWN 7630, and they won't see any type of pullback in performance. It can support up to 200 devices. And this one in particular does support outdoor weatherproofing. So if you're looking to go ahead and deploy this in any type of parks, outdoor recreation facilities, stadiums, etc., it can definitely stand up to the rigorous tests that Mother Nature can definitely bring and provide. Also maybe talking about any type of sort of train yard or harbor deployments as well that have those massive coverage ranges. Then once again as well, advanced QoS to really help you ensure the real-time performance and being able to sculpt this device perfectly no matter the environment that you're looking for. So with the GWN 7630 in particular, we always want to kind of tout the 4x4x4 MIMO technology. So each of the antennas, basically what this means is used to both receive and send data. So the more antennas that the device has, the more data essentially it can handle. So this really results in faster loading and unloading speeds. So the GWN 7630 in particular supporting this technology makes it so that various different devices can have much faster speeds when operating through the GWN 7630 access point as well, making it a really fantastic choice for any type of business deployment that requires any sort of outdoor facets. I kind of mentioned it, but like I said, in type of outdoor focused warehousing situations where you really critically need that Wi-Fi connection in order for individuals to operate and carry out their jobs, this is a great choice for that. So looking at some of the deployment scenarios here, we're really focusing on extreme range and high network throughput. A lot of devices, long range, all operating throughout it. So like I said, IP66 weatherproofing support as well is a big player in this scenario, really sort of broadens the amount of deployment scenarios you can look at with the device. This is really designed for recreation facilities, warehouses, loading docks, train yards, all great options where really the amount of devices connected and maintaining that high speed in an outdoor environment is critical. Excuse me. Okay, just to mention some more of the features with our devices. All of our devices do support a mesh network capabilities. So, for what that means, for those who may not be too familiar here, When we're looking at Wi-Fi repeaters versus mesh technology, Wi-Fi repeaters really aren't technically the same network. Each repeater will have different speeds, different range, etc. Really doesn't allow for seamless roaming and does have limited coverage, whereas with mesh networks, everything operates within the same mesh structure, so all of your access points are easily talking to each other and exchanging data, and this allows for a much larger coverage range as well. So all of our Wi-Fi devices, we build it with the idea of sort of being able to construct a Wi-Fi communications network. So all of our devices do support QoS standards, and many of our endpoints are optimized if they do have Wi-Fi capabilities to work with our own access points. So you can go ahead and deploy any of these type of access points in our WPA20, GRP series, GBC conferencing devices, GXV, desktop, video phones. All of these are optimized to work through it, through our access points. So basically what this means is it gives you a lot of advantages when having a Wi-Fi deployment focused on VoIP. So roaming throughout an entire facility with a Wi-Fi connection is very possible and very easy, which is something we'll touch on here when I talk about one of our other upcoming devices, our WPA10, that's that cordless Wi-Fi IP phone. There's really technically no hard limit to the amount of phones being concurrently used on a single access point. You know, of course, I use the word hard limit here because it depends with the amount of traffic and bandwidth that's being consumed on an access point. But just to kind of give you an example, we sort of had a Grandstream tested soft limit of roughly 11 devices. So we could have roughly 11 WPA20s go ahead communicating through a single one access point. So we use the GWN7630 for our example here during moderate usage periods. So for a typical office deployment, we had roughly around 20 to 25 laptop BYOD devices operating and utilizing the internet, and there was no voice quality drop-off with Wi-Fi enabled devices operating throughout that access point until roughly about 11 concurrent. And this really allows for increased deployment flexibility, not being bound by those Ethernet cables connecting, various desks, sort of keeping individuals sort of chained to their desk. This really allows individuals to get up, move around, collaborate with each other if we're looking at a typical office deployment, along with being able to move from department to department. Like I said, the roaming is seamless with many of our Wi-Fi devices, looking at our WPA20 cordless Wi-Fi IP phone, for example. All right. So perfect kind of transition here, as I'm sure you guys expected it, to our next upcoming solution, the WPA10. This is a basic cordless Wi-Fi IP phone, similar in design to the WPA20, our current cordless Wi-Fi IP phone. The WPA10 is basically kind of like the WPA20's little cousin here. It's more affordable, more basic features, but still having that long battery life and cordless Wi-Fi capabilities. So the device itself supports dual-band Wi-Fi antenna with advanced roaming support. This is one feature that we did not short on or anything. We want to make sure that it could fluently move throughout any kind of Wi-Fi enabled environment easily while maintaining voice and call quality. Supports up to 2 SIP accounts and 2 lines. It does have HD voice and dual mic design just to make sure that any communications through the device are easy and seamless. This even works very well in louder environments. It's able to isolate and pick up the speaker itself. It has a 6-hour talk time and 120-hour standby time, just to make sure that if anyone ever forgets to put down this device back in the charging cradle or anything else, it would still be good and ready to be used. Supports your standard telephony feature from call forward, transfer, hold, etc., phone book capabilities, and also does have that configurable push-to-talk capabilities, so you'd have to put it on one of the top soft keys there if you like to go ahead and utilize it for that. So looking at some of our deployment scenarios, so the WPA10 was sort of designed as a more affordable option when compared to the WPA20. it lacks some of the longer battery life and some of the more sort of built-in features and extra keys, but it provides more of an intuitive access to sort of reliable telephony on the go. So what we're looking at here really is retail, logistics, medical, and security verticals, where sort of communication with each other may not be the #1 priority. You know, this isn't for someone who's going to be on the phone constantly and needs access to some of those more advanced features that someone may require, for example, in a sales department or something like that. But this is definitely ideal for anyone sitting in those verticals. Someone in retail stores, for example, would be able to utilize this device to use the push-to-talk feature to call additional sales associates over if they need help, or, for example, to even make a paging call through a GSC intercom system that we support to request additional cashiers at front. Logistics would be able to use it to help organize and move individuals around. Medical teams, for example, nurse staff, etc., could use it for its paging capabilities, along with supporting some of those basic sort of telephony features that could be required when communicating and talking with patients. And of course, with our security verticals in this sense, security communication is definitely key. It needs to be rapid, and of course, they're constantly roaming and moving around. As long as there's a Wi-Fi connection, they would have access to each other and would be able to speak and coordinate with each other. Okay. And last but not least, last one I kind of want to point out here is pretty exciting, a little bit newer of an addition, is our GSC 3570. So this is a wall-mounted SIP intercom device. Supports up to 4 SIP accounts and has a 7-inch 1024 by 600 pixel touchscreen, fully LCD. Integrated dual-band Wi-Fi as well, so if you want to be able to deploy this device in a situation where PoE may not be available or an Ethernet cord may not be available, it can go ahead and easily connect over a Wi-Fi network. And this is interoperable with Grandstream's entire line of SIP door systems, security cameras, video conferencing systems, our phones, everything. Also has 4x alarm input and 4x alarm output. So when it comes to kind of utilizing this device, I just want to go ahead and sort of point out some of the use cases you may look at. So in a typical kind of office structure, we could have GSCs, these devices deployed throughout, for example, a front desk, then a conference room. For the front desk, it could be utilized to make paging announcements across an entire facility if any notifications need to be made. It can even go from room to room, so if you need to go ahead and page to a waiting room, to a different GSC, or to a conferencing facility, that's possible. The GDS facility access system, if a call is placed, if someone's trying to get access to a facility, that call can actually go straight through to reception or security on one of these devices, and then easily can allow or not allow access to a facility. If anyone needs to go ahead and place an intercom call to a more executive office, for example, it would be able to go ahead and call straight through to a GXP conferencing phone or a GRP or a GXP, any type of communications device like that. So what we're really looking here with this device is it's not only just enabling easy, seamless intercom communications, but also facility control. Right, so some of the deployment scenarios that we want to focus on here, facility access systems, definitely being able to allow or not allow individuals into a facility is a key deployment scenario here. And the GSC 3570 would be able to receive any type of incoming facility access calls, either video or audio, and then, of course, being able to allow or not allow access then. Intercom and paging, either from room to room or from a particular unit to any type of intercom paging groups or even an entire facility, all capable here. The device itself can also access and monitor security cameras. And of course, like I said, can speak with other GSC 3570s. And the key thing here is that it helps streamline your facility management and communication access. You have multiple terminals from one point that individuals can go ahead and utilize to communicate across, make paging calls, or provide and disallow access to a facility. So this is really applicable to offices, residential deployments, retail scenarios, education campuses or education deployments is a key here, along with more secure areas. If there's any type of secure areas that may require that sort of facility access while having that facility easy communication, this is ideal here. All right. Okay, everyone. So really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So let me just go ahead and get my camera back up here, and I will go ahead and go through our Q&A. In 1 second, let me just bring myself back up. All right. Okay, everyone. All right, so I will go ahead and start looking at some of the questions that we have here. I'll start with the Q&A section. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, please go ahead and utilize that Q&A feature at the bottom if you're joining us via IP Video Talk. For those on Facebook watching us right now via Facebook Live, I will get back to you after. But otherwise, I will start delving in. For those who want to go ahead and just head out, feel free to go ahead and leave if you'd like to. Won't have to hold you hostage or anything like that. Really appreciate you taking your time to join. All right. So Willie asked, for the hospitality GWN unit, will they have a way to lock it down so people can't just walk away with the unit? Yes, they will. The device will be able to lock into the wall, and I believe will also have a Kensington lock capability too. A few people actually are asking about the MSRP of these devices. When it comes to MSRP, just go ahead, and that's more of a question for sales information. I don't really have too much details on that, more to come with it once the devices are actually released. The slides and recording will be made available. I'll send them out afterwards, so don't worry everyone, you will be getting that. The GWN devices, do they support power over Ethernet? Yes, they both definitely do. So, you don't need that hard plug-in or anything, that power source, if not required and when not available. The GWN 7602, like I said, can also provide a PoE connection. So if you want to go ahead and plug in any type of IP phones or anything else that requires a PoE support, you can do that. I believe, though, in order to do that, the GWN 7602 does need to be actually plugged in. It can't be powered by PoE and provide PoE power. It does need to actually be plugged in through a power source. All right. Yeah, Nate, good question. So what's the timeline that we're looking here on these new products that are upcoming? Really good question. Most of these products will be hitting the market late 2019, so we're looking at kind of around December timeframe to early January. So we're really just aiming to be kicking off basically the new year, 2020, with some of these new really cool, neat devices. When it comes to exact detailed dates, just make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter, following us on social media. More information to come on that. So thanks, I appreciate it. I am doing Movember this year, for those who are wondering, who are here normally wondering why I have a mustache now. As I see that's actually mentioned by a few of you. So yeah, once again, guys, MSRP, just be sure to talk to your sales managers or your distributor just to make sure to get more information. Maybe they'll have information on that, but otherwise it is something where you'll have to wait for actual release of the products. Unfortunately, I cannot give too much information there. Does the 80 user limit with the GWN 7602 does it get limited when you add 2 additional GWN 762s? Okay, I got you. So yeah, Jim, basically, so each unit itself can support up to 80 users. So if you had 2 additional GWN76.2s, even in a mesh environment, for example, each of those units can support up to 80. Okay, is the LR10 directional so that the range is 300 meters from the mount point, or is part of that coverage behind the device? Part of the coverage is not behind the device. It is not omnidirectional. You'd be able to sculpt and aim where the device is, but mainly the bulk of the connection with the GWN LR, you basically kind of want to have the front towards the individuals that you want to have connection to in this case. So Margot asked, that's a really good question. So for those who are not aware, with the WPA10, so that's our current cordless IP device, you are able to receive video from a GWS to allow or disable access. He's asking if this will also be a feature on the WPA10. I know they're currently working on it. It certainly should be a feature with the device. So essentially you would be able to receive static JPEGs from a GDS 3710, so of that video, and then from there disallow or allow access from the sort of cordless IP device. But let me check with the engineers after this, and I'll include that in the Q&A section on the follow-up email, so just be sure to check there when I send that out either later today or early tomorrow. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and scan really quick through the chat here. So David, a rugged version of the WPA10 or the WPA20, really good question, and I know we've been getting this request a lot. Are we going to make a rugged version, a more industrial, with more industrial focused capabilities? Yep, it's on the way. Can't really give you details on that right now. It's a little bit too far down the pipeline. I don't want to talk about features or capabilities and stuff like that when these are still kind of things that may change, or even give you a mold design that may be different in 2 months from now. But this is definitely something that's really down the road, on the way, but it is coming. Oops, accidentally just scrolled past it. Could PushtoTalk be used between the Wi-Fi set and the SIP deck set? Basically, the PushtoTalk capability can be used between any devices that support the PushtoTalk capability. I believe our new decked features our new decked cordless IP phones support that PushtoTalk capability. But just to be sure, let me go ahead and I'll double check on that as well. Keep an eye on the follow-up email that I'm going to send out, and I'll answer that in a little bit more detail in the Q&A section of that email. But basically, if one of our devices supports push-to-talk functionality, then yes, it can be used. Wi-Fi to DEC, doesn't matter. As long as they're in the same network, just to be clear. Right. So I'm just going to see if we have just take a look here. So a few more questions, guys, that I'll answer, and then I'll get up to the rest of them in a Q&A follow-up in the email. The range on the WPA20 and the WPA10, we have 43 plus anchor property in the Bahamas. Would it work for that? So essentially, when it comes to the actual connection with the WP cordless IP phones, it depends on the unit itself. So if you're using that kind of GWN 7630 long range option, and it is able to completely just make an open connection across the across your property, as long as it falls within that 300 meters, it should work, and as long as you are able to make a sort of roaming environment across that property, yes, absolutely it should work, and it should be able to roam across it as well. you know, keep in mind when you're making any kind of GWN access point deployment or just any access point in general, you know, if there are buildings in the way, what those buildings are composed of, how thick the walls are, you know, if it uses concrete or if it uses metal, all these things do kind of absolutely come into play when it comes to, you know, making these kind of deployments. So just keep that in mind when kind of thinking about these ranges. I mean, sure, you can have our 300 range, you know, GWN 7630 deployed, but if you deploy it right in front of like a concrete wall, obviously it's not going to be able to reach past that concrete wall type of thing. So just all those things should be kept in mind. There's actually, now I see a few questions on the upcoming new GWN, or excuse me, UCM series. More info coming on that. I can't really say too much there. Hopefully I'll be able to cover that in Q1 with one of these webinars. Okay, guys, so I said that this webinar would take about 30 minutes. We're hitting about the 35-minute point. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it there. I know there's more questions, but I will get to them in a follow-up email that I sent out for everyone that's joining via IP Video Talk today. Like I said, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I will go ahead and get to your questions afterwards as well in a little bit. But I'd like to thank everyone so much for taking your time coming out and joining, taking a look at some of our upcoming solutions, our new GWN access points that are coming out, our basic cordless IP phone, and then that HD intercom and facility control device. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.